that McCankle's taco tits height is 5'10" and the weight is 285 pounds. So as we vacillate from nickname to nickname, taco tits, McCankle's, all this stuff, sometimes we might just be 5'10", 285-pound Cankle's McTaco tits. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. But this is our little weekend wrap up. I picked some stories here that are kind of all over the place that are important to me and that we talk about. So the first thing, Kylie put this up, is the AIPAC tracker, and they do really important work. Last week, you guys, 20 Senate Democrats voted with every Senate Republican to continue arming Israel. And let's do a roll call of who these 20 are. Bennett, Blumenthal, Cory Booker, Cantwell, Coons, Masto, Fetterman, Gillibrand, Hassan, Hickenlooper, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Schiff, Schumer, Warner, Whitehouse, and Wyden. And this is really important that this gets covered because right now, I'm very worried about seeing when you have somebody who I believe is genuinely anti-Semitic as Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then you see some tweets coming out from her showing empathy and compassion for these Palestinian children. The Democratic Party is leaving a dangerous vacuum there by not having moral clarity on this issue. All of those 20 senators that the AIPAC tracker is tracking, they all receive hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from AIPAC lobbyists, and they're morally compromised. And so with like the instance of Cory Booker or some of these other senators, they get out on the Senate floor and they speak passionately about the rights of brown children, immigrants in the United States of America that are getting deported. And then they're funding a person who should be in jail, Benjamin Netanyahu. They're complicit in starving these brown children in Palestine. And so credible messaging and getting through this fascist coup that's happening in the United States of America is really important. And leaving vacuums where the Marjorie Taylor Greene starts making sense is a very, very dangerous space for Democrats to leave open like that. And I don't know what the right answer is about this, but I will say that all 20 of those senators really lose credibility. And then the argument is, oh, you people on the far left have a purity test. This isn't a purity test, it's a hypocrisy test. And that should be just the bare minimum to enter into the Democratic Party. Look, all the hypocrites are over in MAGA. They say they give a shit about kids, but they do nothing about guns. It's the easiest thing to prove how hypocritical they are. And now we have these MAGA-esque hypocrisy-style politicians running the Senate, voting with the Ted Cruz's of the world. Right. And this is the only bipartisanship that I'm seeing in the Senate is supporting bombs and policies that are active in genocide of Palestinians. And this is just really heartbreaking and leaving a very dangerous vacuum out there.
I think you make a great point with the vacuum, because when I was reading Marjorie Taylor Greene, I was like, I'm terrified that I agree with her.
Right.
Her reasoning, I don't agree with. I think we should all be able to agree that you should not kill innocent children. And that's not what we're doing. We're funding it. So I believe that it was the Washington Post that printed the names of the children.
17,500.
It's unbelievable that we are not all united in saying this cannot go on.
And Pam said we need to talk about it even deeper than that, because of course we should all agree. And those 20 Democratic senators are compromised and a danger to democracy right now, having that type of moral duplicity. But Israel talks at great length about their military prowess, the accuracy of their bombs and their intelligence agencies, et cetera, et cetera. And we've been sold propaganda that Hamas hides in hospitals. And so they had to bomb all these hospitals. They've killed doctors, nurses, sick people, et cetera, et cetera. They've produced zero evidence of Hamas hiding in hospitals and setting up headquarters in hospitals. So extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And what they did, I mean, they killed physicians that were treating people that were just generally sick and people that were sick from these bombs. And so when you get to the word genocide, it's, they're annihilating their all of the systems in which they function and live. And so it goes so much deeper. And that's why it's so disappointing when you see a lot of those senators we've had on our podcast,
Right.
when you see them continue to do that. In my mind, I think, you're really no different from Ted Cruz. You're just slightly more likable. You're just not homophobic, but the fact that you can be bought and paid for and you're every bit as big of a prostitute that Ted Cruz is, that's what you want your best foot forward in fighting this fascism. And Benjamin Netanyahu's government is far right, fascist,
Right.
authoritarian. He's a criminal. He's a war criminal that needs to be arrested.
Well, and guess who is supporting him wholeheartedly? Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is sanctioning people that want to, he's all around saying, you can't prosecute Benjamin Netanyahu. We're going to have him here. It's like, if you are in the lap of Donald Trump on this issue, you should know that you're wrong. And I don't care who's funding you. You should be able to stand up against it, because Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, the only difference is ambition and intellect. Donald Trump has none, and Benjamin Netanyahu has a lot.
Well, and the scary thing about Donald Trump is Benjamin Netanyahu has taken it this far and gone this far because everybody knows how easy it is to dog walk him.
That's right.
All right. Next up, we have the Washington Post is reporting that the Smithsonian is a bitch ass pussy. They removed Trump from the impeachment exhibit in American History Museum. The Smithsonian said it restored the display to an earlier version, which notes that only 3 presidents have seriously faced removal. The capitulation after capitulation after capitulation to this man is just jarring. That people will not stand up and be like, no, we're not whitewashing history for your orange ass.
Right. And here's the thing, people with money, Harvard, Columbia, Brown now, these have endowments. Why are they not fighting for their students? And it makes me feel better thinking 100 years from now, my great grandchildren will know that we were on the right side of history. But what Donald Trump is doing is trying to rewrite history. He's already got half of the Fox News audience believing that it was just a little dust up at the Capitol on January 6th, when it was a full blown riot insurrection where people died. He pardoned these people. So I often comfort myself with, we are on the right side of history. He's changing history, and these people are allowing it.
Right. And he can try all he wants to the short term change history, but history has a way of bearing out the facts. And sometimes it takes a long time. Like we grew up in Oklahoma. I never learned about the Tulsa race riots growing up, but I've learned about them now. And so, I mean, Donald Trump, everybody that has been capitulating to him is viewing everything through a very short-term lens. And it's just, I don't know if there's somebody MAGA at the Smithsonian, or they just thought, fuck it, we'll change it for 3 or 4 years and we'll change it back. I don't know, but the damage, the reputational damage to capitulating to him, seems to me like it should be career ending. All right, next up. This is something that the Democrats have got to start messaging, and messaging big, big, big time. Brian Allen tweets, I wish conservatives understood one thing. If it weren't for blue states, the U.S. would be a third world country with broadband holes, broken schools, and zero innovation. Red states take federal money. Blue states make it. You don't fund the country, you drain it. Bad ideas, no revenue, and the loudest voices are always the ones who bring the least to the table. And put up this chart. So here it is. Figure out candidate share of 2018 gross domestic product, GDP, by county in the 2020 presidential election. And as you can see, more than 500 counties won by Joe Biden generated 71% of America's GDP in 2018. The counties won by Trump generated 29%. And this is something Gavin Newsom is doing a very good job. He does a very good job, but I think the media, Fox News has done a very good job propagandizing that everybody needs to be scared of blue states, that everybody needs to be scared of big cities. I mean, and it works, because even Charlie Kirk, who fancies himself to be an alpha male, went to New York and said he was really scared and he
He
didn't
was
feel
scared.
safe. And he put it, I mean, he wrote that down and tweeted it out there, which we're in New York 3 times a month. And I've never felt unsafe, not one
Not
time,
once.
which, Charlie Kirk is a pussy.
I was going to say, he's a big fat
We're
pussy.
badasses.
Obviously.
Obviously. Okay. But this messaging, that graph is something that collectively needs to start getting a lot of momentum, in my opinion. Red states are a fucking problem. And we know this, listener, because we live in one. And what that tweeter said, the loudest voices, look at our state. We've got dipshit Governor Kevin Stitt. Blessed every
Every square inch.
every square inch of the state to Jesus Christ. Dedicated every square inch of the state of Oklahoma to Jesus Christ. During his tenure, we have fallen to the 50th ranking spot in education. Women's safety and well-being has plummeted. And so either number one, Jesus doesn't like Kevin Stitt or Oklahoma, or number two, all of that is bullshit. But the thing is, he's this loud voice and he uses religion to manipulate rural voters into thinking he's on their side. Meanwhile, the only side that he's been on are the oil and gas companies, of which there are a lot in Oklahoma. And people get abandoned and they believe this propaganda that this void Fox News and the Charlie Kirks fill, because they can't ever get ahead, because the Kevin Stitts, the Donald Trumps, the Lindsey Grahams, the dipshit unfuckable Ted Cruzes will never raise their wages and will blame it on, white liberal women, immigrants, and on, the list, Black people, all the list of all the people they hate.
Well, it's such an easy point to make. And I agree with you. I was unaware until adulthood that this was a fact, that blue cities and blue states provide money for the parasitic. And it's typically the Bible Belt,
Oh, they're the
Texas.
worst.
Right. It's like all the God states, you're having the hardest time.
Which is really interesting, because you were raised religious, and I remember before you found enlightenment and left your religion aside, you would say things like, "Well, I'm just going to pray about it."
Right.
That will fix everything.
Well, that's what you're taught.
Right. And that all of these religious states, the suffering of their citizens is much, much more. Gavin Newsom is fighting for people in California to be paid a higher wage. Same with Hochul in New York. To me, that's a very decent, if I were a Christian, a very Christ-like thing to do, to say, hey, we're going to lift you up so that you don't live in poverty, so that you earn a respectable, decent wage that's not demeaning to you. And I always see these Democratic politicians with a lot more Christ-like ideals than I ever see the overtly loud screaming, I'm a big Jesus thumper politician. They're always mean to specifically poor people. All of these MAGA policies directly are attacks on the poorest among us, both globally and domestically.
Completely agree, but I think it comes from the entitlement of I'm better than you and I should get more because I'm white, and it's patriarchal by design. I mean, it teaches people that they are better than other people and they get to stand in judgment of other people, and it's a fundamental problem. And when we're talking about the economic message that needs to be taken about the red blue state difference in economy, people need to understand that these religious voters are indoctrinated to believe they are better than other people and they get to sit in judgment of other people. And that's why they're so fucking cruel.
They are. Okay. This is for you, Pumps. This is a meme I found online. This Renee Libby Yep tweets out, we need to redecorate the ballroom for $200 million. Donald Antoinette Trump. And she has a meme of Donald Trump dressed up like Marie Antoinette. I do think the boobs in real life are actually, his man boobs are actually larger than this meme. So I would suggest that. But, this is just, this is not going to end well for MAGA. I don't know when it's going to end for them, but historically, this is just not going to end well for them. This is a short-sighted group of cosplayers that don't know shit from Shinola. They don't know how to govern. They're wildly insecure. I think we're talking about major inner child issues.
And little penises. And Let's talk about this. Donald Trump, get a decorator. Gold everywhere is a terrible
Pups,
look.
he thinks he's the decorator.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
He
he thinks it's good, and no one says,
he had
this looks like shit.
he had that dipshit Witkoff or whatever it is over in Paris
Right. I know.
telling the French about what a good decorator Donald Trump was. And the French were kind of giggling, and he didn't get that they were laughing at him.
Yeah.
Because these are all cosplayers that worship their imperfect vessel. And Marie Antoinette Taco Tits McKinkle's Trump.
My only gripe with
5'10", 285-pound convicted felon.
the makeup was far too smooth on that picture.
Yeah. Kylie, you need to rework that a little bit, and we need to send it back to the tweeter because it was hers. I think it's hers. And just say, hey, we added some enhancements, and we need to do the makeup line. And I think bigger, more wrinkly boobs. I mean, you've seen him in the golf shirt.
Oh God, he looks like a Humpty Dumpty because he's so round in the middle. He's so round.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
It's not good.
All right, that's all we have for today. We hope you all have a lovely weekend. Do this for us. Click the link in bio and go order our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. It's a great way to support our show. And also, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I feel like I've been saying this now for like 3 months. We want to get to 1 million subs because you know what? What happens when you get to 1 million subs? You get a trophy.
Right.
And us two old broads are real excited about getting that fucking trophy. And when we get it, we'll go live and we'll share it with you all. All right. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all later.